Understand how embroidery hoops work and how to set one up. In the US, you can buy hoops made of plastic, wood, and metal in different sizes and styles. I typically use these plastic ones while I'm stitching, and these wooden ones for display in sizes 4 inches, 6 inches, and 8 inches, which is what you're seeing here in each, 4, 6, and 8, and then 4, 6, and 8 in wood. But they also come in odd inches and many other varieties. Both types of hoops have an inner ring and an outer ring, and this screw to adjust the tension to put them together. The plastic hoops often have this little lip on them, which goes away from the hoop, is what helps secure the hoop. So you would put that plastic lip down, put your hoop over it, and then tighten the screw to tighten them together. Wood hoops work much the same way, where you have a similar kind of screw, an outer ring that you're seeing here on top of the piece, and an inner ring that you're seeing on the back because this piece is still in the hoop. Some of the screws just have a wheel to turn with your fingers. Some of them will have a little slot for a screwdriver, but I only use my hand to tighten the screws to avoid stripping the screw or over tightening. Some people buy a new hoop for every project because they leave the finished piece in the hoop for display and sew the excess fabric together in the back. I reuse my hoops, so I just pin or clip the fabric together in the back in this way to get it out of the way for temporary display. But you can see that's why it's important to leave a bit of excess fabric around your hoop. You need to not only allow the hoop to grab the fabric, but you need enough around the edges to be able to hide it so that it looks nice and neat in the hoop at the end, instead of looking like it has a ring of just very thin fabric around it. To set up a hoop, I first decide how big the pattern that I'm working on or drawing needs to be to select the hoop size. And then I choose my fabric, iron it so that it's nice and flat to start with, and trim it so that, as you can see here, there's some margin all around the sides to do what I just showed you of being able to secure that excess fabric in the back at the end. Now in this case, you can see I've kind of just roughly cut this fabric to the right size. If I was planning to include this embroidery piece when it's finished into some kind of sewing project where I need it to be a certain size to make a pillow cover or a panel of a bag or something like that, I would cut it more precisely and measure it. But most of the time, I iron the fabric, lay my hoop down, and just cut around it to give myself a decent margin. So if we want to get the hoop set up to start, I'm untightening it just to get the two separate pieces. This is that inner ring that has that lip that should be down. So my inner ring I'm going to put down to be underneath the fabric. I'm going to lay my fabric over it, and you can see where the fabric is under there to get it kind of roughly centered on the hoop. I've loosened my hoop a little bit to help me slide it over. And all I'm going to do is simply press the hoop down. And at that point, I can pick it up and I can hand tighten it. And you can look at it to see if there's any areas that are loose or puckering. Make sure your hoop is down firmly in place. And hand tighten it until you get this nice drum sound out of it. You don't want to stress your fabric or distort it by pulling it out of the way. You just want it to be tight enough that you hear that kind of drum sound. And with that, you're ready to stitch. And it's helpful to check the tension occasionally as you work to see if you need to retighten that screw as you stitch. So always look for that drum sound. And that's it for hoops. Thanks for watching.